Hey everybody, it's meteorologist Jamie Singleton. Sorry to be waking you up, and you're probably already awake if you are in the path of some of these storms that are pushing out of the Roanoke Valley area. I wanted to jump on the air here and let you know that we've got a highly electrical storm, and one that developed very quickly here, right over Roanoke, pushing very quickly through Vinton, and now it's headed south into the north shore of Smith Mountain Lake. We'll put the latest loop on here and we'll show you the latest image. Just a ton of lightning, and that's been the case with a lot of this activity throughout the evening hours. We have seen lots and lots of lightning jumping well out in advance of the storm. As a matter of fact, we've even had reports of somebody struck by lightning in southern Franklin County earlier this afternoon. That was with the storm cluster that moved in earlier this afternoon and evening. And a whole barrage of reports here, hail, wind damage all through Charlotte County and Halifax County. We've also had numerous reports lately with the newest batch that came through earlier tonight through Montgomery County, southern Montgomery County, Pulaski, Radford, south of Radford into Floyd County. Lots of hail, trees, and power lines down. And we've got this big cluster here that is sinking off to the south. So if I show it to you one more time, you can see how everything is really taking off. And I tell you, the one that concerns me the most, if I can pull up my telestrator here, I'm just going to use my mouse for right now. The one that concerns me the most is this one right here. Look how fast that one moved. It's this storm right here in Roanoke, northern Franklin County. This thing is hauling. We're not concerned with rotation as much as we are just concerned with the mere fact that there's so much wind. As a matter of fact, I'm picking up 60-mile-per-hour winds right now, and that's not very far off the ground. That's near Windy Gap Mountain at about 1,600 feet from the radar site. I'm picking up 60-mile-per-hour winds, and all of that lightning. Folks, this is already probably doing damage to a lot of areas into the Windy Gap community. We're also looking at that high wind up to 50 to 60 mile per hour showing up in the brighter greens. That is what we're seeing right now going through Starkey and the Cahays Mountain. And the general path of this is on off to the south. So you folks in Rocky Mount, Westlake Corner, Union Hall, and Burnt Chimney, you need to be watching this very carefully, because this is quickly developed. If I put this in motion, you can see how it was earlier just a couple of stray storms that developed ahead of the main line, which at the time, about an hour or two ago, was up here across West Virginia. We had this lone cell develop out of Roanoke County, and look how quickly that thing took off. This is a very unstable air mass, one that's got a lot of heat and humidity. If you've been reading my Patreon today, I'm getting back from vacation, but I was able to get an update for you out there, and it's there tonight, indicating just how much heat and humidity these storms have to deal with as they continue to move on off to the south. So let's check out another hyper-local look here at the very strongest part of this storm. And again, we're not talking about rotation, but that does not mean we're not talking about just extremely high wind. So I'm going to put our high-res velocity on here, and we're going to inspect here, as you see there on the part of your screen. Let me zoom you in just a little bit more. So we're in northern Franklin County now into Cooper's Cove and Hardy near Panther Knob there. 55 to 60 mile per hour winds showing up here. Southern Roanoke County, we're looking at 45 mile per hour winds. Near 50 mile per hour winds showing up in Clearbrook in southern Roanoke County. And in the Nath community of Franklin County, the radar anyway is picking up 55 to 60 mile per hour winds there. But that blue area is where we've got a lot of wind going toward the radar at about right now 60 to 61 miles per hour. And again, that's in northern Franklin County. So we're looking at this storm right here pushing into Franklin County with some very dangerous straight line winds. It just blew through Hardy. And I know you folks in Hardy probably even have some damage, or at least some huge limbs down as a result of these very, very strong winds that are feeding on all of that moisture that we had in the air today. We've also got numerous warnings that are in effect in other areas, and we'll check those out for you right now. I'm going to go over here. We're going to look at, let's see, we're going to give you a different background here just to kind of make things less confusing for you, hopefully. All right, so these are the current warnings that are in effect. I wouldn't worry about this one here at the top, but the current warning right now includes the most severe, and again, that's in southern Roanoke County going into northern Franklin County. Boone's Mill, you need to already kind of be in your safe place. And talking about that, at some point, I'm going to have to get away from my broadcast so I can take shelter because I'm not too far south of this polygon, and there's so much lightning and high wind with this, I don't want to get caught out in it while I'm on the air. To give you an idea of how serious I'm taking this, and you know I like to stay on the air whenever I can, but this is a dangerous, dangerous storm right over Hardy and Goodview. And again, it's nearing Red Valley and Burnt Chimney right now off of 116. You guys need to be taking shelter from Taylor and the Wirtz and Helm, Boone's Mill, Burnt Chimney. You are all in this severe thunderstorm warning. That is in effect again for another 22 minutes or so. This will likely be extended further south as it continues through parts of Smith Mountain Lake, Moneta, as well. Now, looking at another polygon, and another storm warning has been issued for Bland, Giles, and Montgomery County. You're seeing that on the left side of your screen. So we'll widen the view out here and show you that we do have another severe thunderstorm warning. It's in effect for Blacksburg. It's in effect for Craig County and Giles County. It includes the rest of Roanoke County because we're seeing some new development around Salem, and with 60-mile-per-hour winds indicated by radar, and hail up to about ping pong ball size, maybe a little bit larger. We can read this to you. That's in effect until 2 a.m. for about another 37 minutes or so. That was located over Catawba, the cell, moving southeast at 25. And honestly, it's more of a south-southeast movement. But Roanoke, Blacksburg, Salem, Christiansburg, Pembroke, Boone's Mill, and Newcastle, including Virginia Tech and the Salem Civic Center, in that warning. And again, to show you the real big warning here is I hear some loud thunder outside my window in Franklin County, keeping in mind that lightning jumps out 15 to 20 miles ahead of the storm sometimes. So we still got the severe thunderstorm warning. This is an update indicating hail up to 1.25 inches and 60-mile-per-hour winds over west central Bedford, southwestern Botetourt, north central Franklin County, city of Roanoke. Mainly right now I'm worried about Smith Mountain Lake area of Franklin County and Bedford County. This was near Vinton, moving to the southeast at 15 miles per hour. Honestly, it looks to me like it's moving a little bit quicker than that. But I think Franklin County, you really need to watch out here. So I do weather for the town of Rocky Mount. I let them know that there's a good possibility, because this is some undisturbed air here, that this may end up dropping a little bit further into Rocky Mount, and it may back build toward Callaway and Crossroads. So even though you're not in the warning yet, you could be, because these storms are edging to the south at a pretty good clip here. They'll pick up the higher level winds, and what happens is there's not a lot of wind shear. There actually was earlier tonight. There still is just enough, but these are summer storms that develop just out of the heat and that high humidity of the day, and so they'll blossom up. They'll catch a lot of combined energy, and they slam it back down to the ground. It doesn't have to spin. This is a situation where everything just comes up in the air real fast, and it reaches heights of 45 to 55,000 feet, and it comes right back down, produces a lot of lightning, because at those levels you've got hail suspended aloft. When you get ice up there, those ice crystals rubbing against the rain particles and the everything else that's up in the cloud, the water vapor and everything like that, it gets that cloud supercharged pretty much, and you'll see a bunch of lightning when there's a lot of hot air down below and a lot of ice aloft. Not to be forgotten here, we've got some strong activity south of Philpott Lake into Patrick County as well. There's no official warning with this one, but there may be a special weather statement soon for southern Floyd County near Laurel Branch and getting into Philpott and Henry. You've already been hit one time today, but this one could blossom as well. Now, this is the latest severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect. That's for Pulaski and Dublin, and I know you guys are thinking, what? We were just hit not too long ago, just a few hours ago, and now we've got another one. The strongest cell right now is over Highway 61. That is just off to the west of Pearisburg, south of 460. This is the particular cell, and it's moving down toward Mechanicsburg. And if it continues on that track, what our folks at the National Weather Service are doing, they are over there. Anita's working very hard on chat to let us know that this is going to be nearing Pulaski and the Bella Vista area, Mount Olivet here. If it continues on this path towards Draper and I-81 and your Highway 100 and Hiwassee there, and getting into the Crater Lake area. So watching that particular part of the storm, here's another cell between Bluefield and Bluewell. Folks may be knowing, if you're not in that area, there's a Bluefield, West Virginia and a Bluefield, Virginia. The Bluefield, West Virginia area is getting hit really hard right now, and this one's also moving off toward I-77. So, folks traveling I-77 north of Wytheville, definitely running into the storm head on, unfortunately, and that's a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect again for at least another, let's see, the warning expiration is on this one for another 17 minutes for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. This latest warning is in effect for the New River Valley, including Pulaski County and extreme eastern Wythe County until the next hour. So about, let's see, that puts it at 2:30 in the morning. So these are storms that are waking a lot of folks up, and we'll continue to watch these as they progress south out of Roanoke County and the Franklin County. And let me see if I can get a couple of more images up here. Again, this is the one I like to use for looking at storms in a more technical aspect. We'll show you the latest, and you can see now the lightning getting very close to my location. So I may have to sign off here and do kind of an old-fashioned thing with my cell phone in hand, but I did want to let you know that folks in Rocky Mount, most of Franklin County, I'd be taking cover because there may be a warning out with this soon, and especially you folks living in Smith Mountain Lake, Redwood to Union Hall, North Shore, and the Burnt Chimney, you need to be taking shelter because this is a very strong storm as it continues pushing south. It's had some very strong straight line winds still indicated within this thunderstorm. I'm looking at winds of still 40 to 45 miles per hour, so a little less, but still it's hard to tell. Right there was the core of the high wind, right as it went over the mountain there, Windy Gap Mountain there. We had close to 60 mile per hour winds. It pulses up at times, and sometimes it'll pulse back down. We're continuing that severe thunderstorm warning for that area. You can see again the lightning jumping well out in advance of the storm. So the storm's here. We've got lightning strikes occurring out ahead of it. We've had that happen all evening long, and we'll continue to see that as this cluster continues to press off to the south. But no doubt you folks in Union, West Virginia, southeast West Virginia, going in now to the New River Valley, all of the Roanoke Valley. Still we have in Roanoke some remaining lightning bolts and a pretty moderate storm, and officially you're still under the severe thunderstorm warning. We also can't ignore the fact that through Floyd and Patrick County we still have a lot of activity going on there as well. Let me show you a 3D look at what we're talking about here. We'll look at the Franklin County storm first. We're going to put a little slice through that right now. We'll look up into the atmosphere. This is a look at what the radar sees from Floyd County, which is here off to the west on your screen, and we're looking at 30,000 to 40,000 feet up in the air. That's some pretty high reflectivity. When you see the red and the pink there going that high up in the atmosphere, you know that storm means business. So we've got a strong updraft with that storm, and I can show you that in many ways. This is the product that shows me where our wet, fat raindrops are in relation to the freezing level of this storm. and we definitely have had our fair share of strong updraft activity, but just because we've had just so much heat and buoyancy to the air. When you add this much moisture, dew points in the 70s, you've been feeling it the past couple of days, that allows that updraft to take those water molecules, water droplets, well into the sub-freezing level of the atmosphere, and that's when you get hail. You can see a lot of water content there showing up there in the blues. That's a way of looking, one of the ways of looking at the water content with this, and that's one of the ways we determine if there's a lot of rain or hail in this as well. You can also see near the freezing level the ice there showing up, where you don't see the cranberry colors. We're not looking for debris as much as we're just looking for large hailstones. And so that is something that we're really concerned with. The core has weakened just a bit, but this is still a very strong storm with the core up to about 20,000 to 25,000 feet. And again, that's moving off to the south. Let me see real quick. I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to try to get my NDI sources up here. I know I've got one that's working. This is the coming from the Mac, and that's just another way of looking at the let's see, it's another way of looking at the radar picture just for the whole area. You can see kind of things update live there on your screen. I'll stay with you as long as I can, but I'm going to leave this image up. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to head over to the other part of the weather office here, and I'm going to try to link one of my computers together just before I have to jump off. All right. So I think I've got it, everybody. Thanks for hanging on, all 100 or so of you. Be sure to tell your friends, text your friends, let them know what's going on, because we do have a lot of activity to talk about. Let me see if I can't get what I need to over here. There we go. I've had issues with this all night, but I'm so thankful right now that I can get this up here for you. You certainly can see a lot of lightning activity. These are live lightning strikes on your screen. You can see now a special weather statement issued for Smith Mountain Lake for up to 50-mile-per-hour winds with this particular storm as it continues to move off to the south and to the southeast. You can see some of those lightning bolts that are occurring near Floyd County, well away, by the way, from all of these storms. We've got this random lightning strike there in the Floyd County. We've also got just tons of lightning with severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for the rest of the area as well. So with that said, I'm going to take my own advice and I'm going to get away from Windows, and I'm going to jump on my cell phone and bring you further updates here in just a few minutes. But take shelter, Franklin County, all areas in the severe thunderstorm warning, Smith Mountain Lake, be away from Windows. Even though it's not a tornado warning, this can produce winds that can produce damage similar to a tornado and over a wider area. So each type of storm produces its own array of damage, and in this case we're not talking as much as about tornadoes, but we're talking about just the intensity of bringing down very strong trees, very large branches, toppling those, and they can be deadly as well. In addition to all of this lightning that's occurring, I can actually go in and show you the intensity of some of these lightning bolts, and they are nothing to be messed with here. Here we go, very intense lightning. Let's see if I can get a reading on that. Tell you what, it's not going to let me, but you take my word for it. There it was. It's over 3 joules. So we're going to sign off for right now, take shelter, and I'll be back on with my cell phone for more updates.